All right, today I'm going to talk a little bit about drop shipping. I get this question about drop shipping quite often, about how the viability and if this is a long-term business. So let's before we get started, let's get a few definitions squared away. So the definition of drop shipping is when you use somebody else's inventory at some other place, and so people buy the product on your website, and then you use that other business, that other warehouse, to fulfill your order. So that's what drop shipping is. It's products that you do not have in inventory, but you pay someone else. Basically, use somebody else's inventory to fulfill. When you are stocking product, when you own the inventory, that is not drop shipping. Even if you are using a fulfillment warehouse, which for the most part, all of my inventory comes from a fulfillment warehouse, but I own the inventory. That is not drop shipping. So I want to get that I want to distinguish those two right here at the very beginning. So it's a difference between owning the inventory and not owning the inventory. Commonly, I hear people mixing up the terms. They think drop shipping is using AliExpress. That AliExpress is a drop ship, a place that will drop ship for you, but they are not the same thing. Okay, so AliExpress is just one of many places you can use for drop shipping. Okay, so drop shipping is used by the largest businesses on the internet. Even retail stores do that. Often, if I go onto Best Buy's website, they have products that are not available in the store. Now that may come out of their own warehouse somewhere, but I know some of those come from dropship distributors. All right, so let's and there are, many other small and large e-commerce businesses and brick and mortar businesses that use drop shipping, and this has been around for a very long time. I come from an IT background, and most of many of the electronics, many vendors don't carry their own inventory. Brick and mortar, if it's a special order, but online businesses, they almost, in many cases, exclusively use a dropship distributor. And maybe in one of these videos later on, soon, I can put something together about finding those distributors and how to get them to fulfill your products. But okay, so let's, and I just want to take a real broad approach on this, but let's just go through a couple things here. So I put this date down here, 1999, and that was the first year I started doing e-commerce. And back in 1999, the hot thing to do is to sell on eBay. So these days, when you hear a lot about Shopify or Amazon FBA, back in 1999, even through the early 2000s, eBay was the thing. All right, so I've seen just about everything that happens in the e-commerce world, and have done many of them. And I just want to go through some dates here, kind of my observation for the last few years of kind of the kinds of things that have happened, like the hot things that we always talk about shiny objects. That's like somebody comes out with this new a new course about this new big thing. Well, most of this it's just a repackage of something that's been around for a long time. But back in especially on Facebook, like around 2012 and before, the big thing was selling T-shirts on Teespring, because there was, here's this fairly new ad platform on Facebook, and a whole new group of people that are really excited to be on Facebook, and those that were, could put together like clever designs and sayings and things like that, found a ready market for t-shirts. And Teespring was around doing this print on demand, which was something new for t-shirts. Usually with t-shirts, you'd get a design, print, 20, 30, 40, 100 or whatever, and then just sell them. But Teespring came out with this, I don't know if they were the first, but they were one of the early big print-on-demand t-shirt businesses. Marketers kind of put the two things together, print-on-demand t-shirts and this great Facebook audience, and then they put those two together, ran ads, and wow, so I made a lot of money off shirts. I don't know if there's anybody watching this. Back in about 2012 was earlier on in that year was a big time for doing name shirts. Basically people's surname wrapped around some sort of fun saying or something like that. That was a really big thing back then. So print on demand has been around. Print on demand really made a big difference. You got this new marketplace, and that was a really popular thing to do. Let me get this to do a better thing here. So print on demand is great. It doesn't require any inventory, and you can do stuff. You can all sorts of things that you can print things on. And let me make this pen work. Okay, let me go the other way here. And these, it's still e-commerce. It's something that it's going to be around. There's always going to be a marketplace for that. So that is definitely, even though this was print on demand was like what you would hear so much about, people making these large amount of sales. That was such a big thing, and it still works today. And so I want to be clear, we talk about dropship, that still works today, and it's going to work it will be around forever. Dropshipping will be around. Print on demand will be around. There are always going to be people these things work. But dropshipping, so right these days we have an environment where people are getting a little bit sour on using AliExpress for dropshipping. Now, my view with AliExpress, I think it's fine if you're going to use that as a testing platform. So, you run some ads, you find out the viability of a product in an ad, and maybe you fulfill 1 or 200 at the most, and then quickly switch to importing. So you want to start importing as quickly as possible when you are doing AliExpress. So AliExpress is a great place to test things, but when you find a winner, go out and do your research like Alibaba or other methods and find suppliers for the product, and then bring it in and use the fulfillment center and to fulfill your product. That way the customers get their products in a few days rather than 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks. So because it's inconsistent. The AliExpress the delivery times are inconsistent. Most of the time I see stuff come in about 10 or 11 days. But then there's those outliers who come in it's like 40 days. And that's when you have a customer service problem. So drop shipping does not equal AliExpress, but AliExpress is a drop shipping supplier. So it's not, when someone says drop shipping, that's not exclusively AliExpress. So there's many, many places to go. So one of the requirements, if you're going to go out and use one of these drop shipping warehouses, most of the time before they're going to drop ship for you, they're going to need to have something about your business. So you'll have to have gone far, and you should, if you're starting to sell, and you live in a state that charges sales tax, you definitely want to have a sales tax, they call it a resale number or a sales tax number, whatever they call it in your state. You should have that by now if you're making sales, because you need to collect the sales tax on your store and remit it to your state. So when you contact distributors and warehouses that do drop shipping, one of the things they will very likely, I mean, like 90% of the time, or like 99% of the time, they're going to ask for a resale number, which is your sales tax number. So that's, I mean, a domestic United States distributor or drop shipping warehouse will ask for that. So again, drop shipping just means you don't own the inventory. But if you, of course, you can, it just means you don't own the inventory. But most of the virtually every distributor in the United States, if you want them to ship for you, you kind of need to prove that you are a retailer. So when we use when we sell on Shopify, we're online retailers, and these are typically, when we say drop ship warehouses inside the United States, they're usually wholesalers or distributors. So that's a quick way if you're going to go out and look for a place to do some drop shipping for you. They're usually listed as wholesalers or distributors. That's kind of the things you're going to be looking for if you're going to do a Google search for a particular item. Now, there's a certain way you want to approach these people, these businesses, these for drop shipping, but that's for another video. All right, so I just want to be, I mean, drop shipping, this is always going to be it's going to be around for a long time. It's going to be around forever. So drop shipping is great. This is a great way to sell products. Let me get over here, and my phone's ringing. That's fun. And it's going to be good next year. It's good now. It's been great in the past. It's always, and I mean, this is going to be around forever, because you can't always have everything in your inventory. So when I started my first, like I mentioned, I started selling on eBay in 1999. By 2001, I was doing e-commerce full time. I had an e-commerce website where people could buy directly from me, but I still, for many years, I don't anymore. But for many years, I continued to use eBay as well. So what I did when I had my own store is I keep the really popular items. I would have that in my own at a fulfillment center that would fulfill my orders. But there were some items, I mean, I didn't want to stock everything. And so I had arrangements with suppliers. Well, hey, if I've got all this, all this inventory in my fulfillment center, but there's some items that maybe only sell once, maybe once or twice a month, or maybe once every other month or something. I didn't want to keep that inventory, because that would that capital is tied up into that. So it allowed me to have. I'd have all the items I could turn within a few weeks. The items that would sell regularly, I kept in my fulfillment warehouse, and those that did not, I listed them on my website, but I had my supplier fulfill those for me. So that's kind of a hybrid method of doing that, if you want to call it that. But I've always done a mix of the having my own inventory, and then having those and some other items that may not be quite as hot of seller, not really, really hot sellers. Those I would drop ship. So, and of course, remember, and we're kind of in a climate right now where our president does not. He's putting tariffs up, and there's some potential issues with the postal, like e-packet, because you know how cheap e-packet is. That may not last forever, But still, I think I still, to this day, I use AliExpress as a testing platform, but not as a business model. So that's perfectly fine. Also, remember, there are things you can sell that come from domestic, if you're in the United States, we're talking about the United States, domestic suppliers, because there are manufacturers of things here. It's usually, though, the kinds of things made in the United States, not universally, but generally speaking, are higher end products. So I hope that answers some things. Drop shipping is not going away. It's a terrific it's a terrific resource as an e-commerce business owner. But you know, for your popular things, then you definitely want to get them in a fulfillment warehouse. You know, times like this where we're in front of the holidays, it allows you to sell much closer to Christmas, and then that way, you know, at the stuff really starts selling closer to Christmas, and it's great to have the ability to fulfill closely, because there's so many people, that momentum of buying it really ramps up towards the holidays. All right, look forward to our next video, and have a great rest of the day.